Everyone should know about the Daniel Webster Monument, and it's interesting.
And how long has that monument been there?
Well, we lost it for a while. Somebody helped himself to it, but we got it back, so it's up again. But I don't know how long it's been there. It'll be how many years? I should know, but I don't. Don't remember.
Well, I thank you very much for your information here. And,
well, I'll see you again.
It's a place that not too many people are aware of anymore, and there's very little remains evident. I don't know just what there was for foundations or the manner in which buildings were actually removed by people, or if they just disappeared. But today it takes some imagination to realize what a thriving community that existed here.
That is true. It's very true. And the more we find out about it, the more we enjoy it. And it's great.
The Kelly Stand Road between Sunderland and Stratton is still in the location it was when stagecoach was the main means of transportation. The narrow, rough, rock-dotted ribbon of dirt still winds through some of Vermont's most fascinating wilderness, seldom out of sight of the river. It even has a famous rock, Hog Allen Hill, named because a man called Allen fed his pigs there from a flat rock in the middle of the road. The west end of the road was plowed during the winter with horses pulling a V-plow. The snow was only rolled on the east side. Everyone who ventured over the road carried a shovel, not for getting stuck, but for shoveling out the snowbank should two vehicles meet. When this happened, backing up to let one pass wasn't enough. First a hole was dug in the snowbank to widen the road. Then the horses were unhitched and guided past each other. Next, the sleighs were carried across. Finally, after rehitching, the drivers continued on their way. The Kelly Stand Road goes in all directions but west, is the way old-timers put it. The inn at Kelly Stand was originally operated by Mr. and Mrs. William Kelly about 1770. Stagecoaches stopped there and guests stayed overnight or a week. A great number came from miles around to spend vacations there. Even local people put up at the inn for a change and rest instead of traveling elsewhere. On New Year's Eve, large parties from miles around arrived in horse-drawn sleighs with jingling bells. The Kelly Stand was surrounded by a prosperous settlement and lumbering industry, which continued right into the 20th century. The banks of the Roaring Branch were lined with sawmills, many with up and down blades instead of the conventional round ones. Logs were hand cut and skidded out by one with a team or 4 horses after the ground was frozen. A prominent name in the area was Grout. Members of the family owned thousands of acres and operated sawmills for generations, hence the Grout job and Grout Pond. The occupants never lacked for anything to do. In the summer, there was boating, swimming, picnicking, hiking, bicycle riding, and fishing. A main winter sport was ice skating. Barn raisings, husking bees, and sugaring off were good reasons for a party. Today, most traces of the inn, the Grout job, and the once prosperous community are gone. Nature has covered the cellar holes with brush and second-growth timber. Landmarks were Point of Rocks, where the bears always cross, the toll gate, Dewey's old mill, Bradley Ward's place, the old gold mine, the Forks, McIntyre job 3 miles south on the South Fork, the first, second, and third bridge, Hog Allen Rock, Cold Spring Hill, and Lyman Bridges. Batchelder and Bronson ran the big steam mill with a tall smokestack. Don Barney had a clothespin shop. Brad Ward had a shingle mill. Ira McLaughlin had a fine tool shop near the first bridge. Roger O'Brien ran a mill at Hell's Half Acre. Along the Kelly Stand Turnpike were sawmills, blacksmith shops, taverns, a hotel, a school, a church, and numerous homesteads spread so far and wide apart that some neighbors rarely saw each other during knee-deep snowy winter days. In December 1821, Hiram Blake and his wife Lucy Goodell left Arlington to visit relatives on the Marlborough South Branch. With them was 14-month-old daughter Rebecca. They traveled into the heaviest snowstorm of the year. The road became impassable. They unhooked the horse and went on horseback till the horse gave out. He gave his coat and gloves to his wife and went for help. In the morning, rescuers found him first, not far from his wife and child. He survived along with his daughter, but his wife died. A Kelly Stand experience around 1930. We stayed in the Kelly Stand Hotel, which at that time had a kitchen, woodshed, and 2 rooms, used as bedrooms in the annex at the rear of the large building. The front porch was detached and hanging down by the rafters. The large front building was not safe to enter. Rob Lawler, an elderly gentleman, had lived there for years. He was the cook and guide for us while we were there. At the very top floor of the building was a large dance hall with a swinging floor. We were allowed to take one trip by a back stairway to see it. Very unsafe. Rob Lawler had a team of oxen which he kept in what was left of a large barn across the road from the hotel. He would drive the oxen to the woods early every day and cut his wood for the winter. It was a thrill to walk with him down the road behind the oxen until he turned off into the woods to return in late afternoon. My next experience with the Kelly Stand was in 1938. Johnson Pulp Company employed 100 to 150 men in the woods in the Kelly Stand and Stratton Mountain area. One of the supervisors was boarding at my mother's house, Sarah Dole, and mentioned that the head bookkeeper needed an assistant. I had just graduated from St. Joseph's Business School in Bennington, so applied for the job. I worked there for 3 years in various lumber camps in Stratton, Kelly Stand, and Dorset. These jobs were 7 days a week, $3 a day, less 90 cents a day for 3 meals, 10 hours a day. My first night in a lumber camp was at the Kelly Stand. In the winter, Johnson Company employed about 200 trucks to transport the pulp to Arlington, where I worked as a scaler at the landing at the site of the present Fisher School. When the roads were good, trucks operated 24 hours a day and night. We worked 12-hour shifts at this time. There was a mess hall at this location, and meals were served at any time for 30 cents each. Some trucks transported pulp to various mills in New York. Others were diverted to a railroad track which was constructed to a connector in back of the Fisher School. Railroad cars were loaded from 2 large piles of pulp on site. In a newspaper article of about 1934, the headline says, "An Indian slashed about the face with a broken bottle." Fights at Kelly Stand in Arlington keep police and municipal court busy. The Kelly Stand Hornet's Nest, which has been active in furnishing municipal court news all summer, became stirred yesterday to a new high of excitement and trouble breeding when a number of lumberjacks became involved in disturbance of the peace and assault cases. A lumberjack, an Indian, is in the hospital today suffering from injuries received in a hand-to-hand beer battle. David Peters, an Indian, was involved with Bezo Delcor, another Indian, and Dan Buckley in a fight over a case of beer on Sunday, officials said. Peters, attacked by both men, was badly cut about the face and head with a weapon believed to have been a broken beer bottle used by one of his assailants as an ugly stabbing instrument. Few indeed are the towns in Vermont that have not celebrated their 100th birthday and even their 150th. But east of Arlington is a once prosperous settlement that has come and gone within 70 years. Millions of dollars worth of lumber went down the road from Kelly Stand. Gay parties came from Troy and Albany to enjoy the trout dinners served by the genial host. The dances in the great ballroom attracted crowds that came from miles around. Paul Bunyan and his foreman, Hels Helson, were ready to start the job in the Dakota country on the mountain that stood on its head. After the first week of logging, the scale showed only 1 tree cut per man for each 72 hours of labor. What was wrong? Paul had to go and look for himself. Hels Helson was insisting that the loggers walk upside down and fell the trees exactly the way they did when standing up. Hels, having been a champion mountain climber in Sweden, got up the slopes with little difficulty. Then he strung cables between the trees. Along these cables the loggers dizzily worked. Tree felling, even under ordinary conditions, is hard labor for even the strongest man, but when a woodsman attempts to use a limber crosscut saw and a heavy axe, his head down, his body hanging by a leather belt which is fastened to a swinging cable, when a woodsman looks up to see his feet and to have dust and sawdust down into his eyes, when a woodsman looks down to see stumps and rocks a mile and a half below him, brave and powerful as he may be, a woodsman under these conditions feels inconvenienced, harassed, and impeded in the performance of his labor. Paul Bunyan thought he must come up with an original idea to make the job efficient. An idea came. From an old chest that held weapons and traps from his pre-logging days, Paul brought forth the most prized weapon of his youth, a gold-butted, diamond-mounted, double-barreled shotgun. The idea of the size and power of this super cannon is realized when it is remembered that he used its 2 barrels at a later time for smokestacks for his first sawmill. The shells were made from the largest cedar logs, hollowed out, bound with brass, and capped with sheet iron. Big Ole, the blacksmith, cut up thousands of 2-foot square pieces of sheet iron. The shells were ready. Standing under the mountain that stood on its head, Paul Bunyan noted to his men that only stumps remained on the plain below. "I shall make you a forest," Paul said. He lifted the shotgun to his shoulder and pulled the triggers. Both barrels went off in such an explosion that many loggers tumbled to the ground. Clouds of dust dropped from the mountainside. When the air cleared, the amazed loggers saw a new forest before them. The 2 shells had sheared off 1,000 trees. They dropped straight down and stuck their tops into the plain. It was the strangest grove ever seen by man. At sundown, the circuit around the mountain that stood on its head had been completed by Paul, and the plain below was filled with an amazing artificial forest that the loggers could cut efficiently. The small bushy tops of the trees were embedded in the ground, and their bare trunks were swaying high in the air. "Now," said Paul, "I'll invent a way to log off the foot of the mountain which towers among the clouds." Meanwhile, Hels Helson, annoyed that as foreman he had been unable to properly organize the mountain that stood on its head job, decided to climb to the plain on top of the mountain and harvest it by himself. This so annoyed Paul Bunyan that he went to confront Hels. Paul did not attempt to climb the mountain, but rather rushed toward it and sprang upward in a tremendous lunge. His hands brushed down on the slope and started a roaring avalanche. A large section of the rim broke away, and now a large hill stood below the broken edge. On his second try, Paul caught the rim and drew himself up and over, sending more rock and trees crashing down upon the new hill. Hels Helson and Paul Bunyan engaged in a titanic battle all night. Paul's shoulders struck acres of pine trees with the crash of a tornado. By morning, the sun shone red through a spray of blood from Helson's nose. Geysers of dust rose explosively all over the mountaintop, and heavy gray clouds hid the mountain from view. Rocks and trees crashed everywhere to the plain below. Finally, the victory was Paul's. All this jaw-hammering, chin-mauling, nose-pounding, side-stomping, cheek-tearing, rib-breaking, lip-pinching, back-beating, neck-choking, eye-gouging, tooth-jerking, arm-twisting, head-butting, beard-pulling, ear-biting, bottom-thumping, toe-holding, knee tickling, shin cracking, heel bruising, belly whacking, hair yanking, hell roaring, supreme, and incomparable knockdown, drag out fight of all history provided victory to the mighty leader of loggers, Paul Bunyan. Paul said, "You're going to be a good foreman now, Helson." "I think so," said Hells. The wonderful mountain was gone. Today the north winds blow down over the desolate remains of blood-darkened dust known as the Black Hills of Dakota.
Well, Jim, we just walked up, headed for the Liebrook Wilderness area. Looks like we're ready to enter the wilderness zone itself. We've been coming up the old railroad grade, just as straight as an arrow through here.
Must be 100 yards, no, 200 yards down there. 10 feet in the air, straight, even pitch all the way. And it goes straight through right there, but the trail, where the trail is today, leaves the railroad right here, joins it and leaves it and joins it and leaves it, continuously up the mountain.
When did this designation come about, Tim?
I think it was in the 70s. It was in the 70s, Claude.
Why don't I walk up?
I'll continue on the railroad,
Okay.
you go on the logging truck road, okay?
I'll go on the log truck road, which is the path that's used by the public to go to Liebrook Falls.
Yeah, that's the destination here.
And you go up the railroad, and I know we're going to meet very soon.
Yeah,
up
we'll
there.
meet, cross, and keep on going, and okay. I've never been here where I didn't meet people on some of the worst days. Remember where we were up here before, and it was a crummy, cold day, worse than today, and we met 3 or 4 groups of people, didn't we?
3 or 4 groups of people, and they all had dogs, I think.
Yeah. I guess you have to come with a dog.
See on the sign in sheets down there, some of them say 2 people, 2 dogs.
Yeah, there we can reach out and almost touch those branches, Claude.
Yeah.
You gonna do it?
Oh, yeah. Now that branch is coming off the tree of, what, about 20 feet in the air?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice black birch up here.
Oh, there's a view of the valley. Through the, never know it was there when the leaves were on the trees.
That
The condominium.
Equinox on the Battenkill.
Yeah.
That,
That'd be by the golf course.
I think so.
There's that mountain over there, Claude.
There's Mother Merrick.
Mother Merrick.
That's
yeah.
Mother Merrick.
Mother
Hi,
Merrick.
Mother Merrick.
Mother Merrick
With-
Mountain.
With clouds on the top.
Yeah.
Have you seen Mother Merrick recently? Since their trip to New York City.
No, I haven't.
I had the strangest phone call the other day, and I'm sure it was Bruin. It said, the only phone call I can make, and all I get's an answering machine. I don't know what that was all about.
Oh, only phone call he can make.
I don't think he's ever called me before.
like he's in jail or something. Could that be?
Bruin in jail?
Could that be?
I don't know. I'll have to ask him next time we see him.
Well, I think they say you can only have one phone call from jail.
I don't believe we're in New York City. Here we are. Oh boy, do I enjoy being in New York City. This is a lot different than up in Beartown. Hey, Mother Mary, what are we gonna do today? Are we gonna go ride the subways? What are we gonna do, huh?
No, you're staying right here in this room.
What?
I'm getting ready to go to the opera.
Huh?
You can stay here and order in room service. Here's your menu. And
Room service. I can't go out with you. I wanna ride the
No.
subways.
no, you have to stay in this room. You're not going to cause any trouble. I'm going to go out. I'm going to have a good time tonight. Here's the remote. You can channel surf all night long. The
Right.
phone is right here. Just dial
What?
0 for the operator, and she'll get you everything you need.
But
Now,
I wanna go out.
I'm going to step in here to the dressing room and get ready, and you stay here in this room.
Oh no, I wanna go out. Boy, what can a bear do in New York City? I need somebody to guide me around. Well, let's go see what's on television anyway. Well, let's see if there's anything on here. Nothing there, nothing there. Why, I tell you, no bear programs. Where's my honeybee program? That should be on somewhere. No. Boy, I tell you. No, don't like that one either. No, don't like that. Oh, Jay, what can I do? That looked like a bear there. Was that a bear? Let's go back up. Can we back that one up? I thought I saw a bear. Did I see a bear? No, I guess not. Oh, well. No bear. Why? Doesn't look like anything fun on here. Maybe I'll just see what they have for room service. Yeah, let's see. Well, fresh fruits and berries. Oh, that's just what I need. Let's see. Yeah, there's lots of stuff there. Oh boy. Oh, where's this room service? Room service, where here? Oh, hi, is this room service? Yeah, I want all the berries that you can bring up. And I need some honey with that, and some cream. Do you have any wasp and any ants? No, you don't? Okay. Well, whatever you have in the fruits and berries, more berries. Sure you don't have any wasp? Ants? Chocolate-covered ants? Yeah, they'll do. Chocolate-covered ants will do. Yeah, you know the room. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Bye. Yeah. Oh, where's that room service? Oh, boy, I can't wait till room service gets here. Oh, boy. Oh, there's honey and the berries and those ants. Oh, chocolate-covered. Oh, here they are. Oh, boy, room service. Oh, coming. I'm coming. Here I come. I don't see. These things aren't very comfortable at all. How can a human sleep in these things? Oh, this is terrible. Never could figure out how to use these things. This is uncomfortable too. Wonder what's up here. Well, let's see what's up around here. Let's see. Boy, these stairs are steep. Oh, look at this whole other room. Oh boy. Mother Mary, tell me about this. Oh, boy, a new place to explore. Boy, that's no kind of a view. I can't see anything there, just another building. What kind of a place is this? Oh, well, this must be New York City. Oh, I wonder if there's anything a better view out this window. Oh, no, just more brick walls. If they're not white, they're red. Boy, city life, not for me. I heard Mother Mary running water in here. I thought there might be some fish in here. There's no fish. There's nothing in here. I don't even know how she got the water going. Oh, well. Let's see what else I can get into. Wait a minute. Is that a pond? No, that's not a pond. No fish in there. Oh, well. No fish in there. I'm coming out and going, oh, hey, there's another bear. Hey there. What are you? Oh, wait a minute. That's not another bear. It moves like me. That's one of those silly human things again. Oh well. Let's see what else I can find to do. I don't know if I like New York. Let's see. I guess maybe I should floss a little bit more. Yeah, look at that. Oh, they used to look pretty good. Pearly whites. Boy. Nothing in there. Oh, well, let's see if there's anything of interest down in here. Nothing there. What kind of place is this? No honey, no food. Well, let's see what else I can find. Yeah, this is more comfortable. Yeah, it's still not like my nest of leaves and pines, but this is much better than that sofa. Not as comfortable as that human bed, though. Well, let's see. I'm getting bored. Maybe we ought to go downstairs. Mother Merrick said not to, but she's not around. She'll never know. Anybody around? I don't see anybody. It looks clear. I guess I can go out now. Yeah, okay. I'll go downstairs and see if we have any fun down there. Yeah, coast is clear. I don't see anybody around. I hear noises downstairs. Let's go see what's going on downstairs. Yeah. Hey, babe.
All rise.
Good morning, please be seated.
Morning, Your Honor.
This is docket number 625-6-96, BNCR, State versus Bruin De Bear. Mr. Lavoie is representing the state, Mr. Levy is representing the bear, and the court is ready to proceed on the arraignment.
Thank you, Your Honor. It's my understanding that the state has decided to charge my client, Bruin De Bear, with aggravated assault and disorderly conduct. We're obviously going to enter not guilty pleas to those this morning. We raised the Rule 5 issue this morning and asked the court to make some kind of ruling on whether Mr. Bruin De Bear is in fact a person within the meaning of Title 13 of the statutes. We are waiving all formal inquiries. Beyond that point, we're looking to the state to see if they're requesting bail or release conditions.
Your Honor, I'll address the Rule 5 issue first. A person as it's used in the statute is a legal concept. Certainly if a cold-blooded corporation can be a person, then this warm-blooded bear is a person as well. If the bear can do the crime, the bear can do the time, Your Honor. There's no reason why he should be at large in society and not live by its rules. Your Honor, this case has created a great public outcry. Mr. Lurvy fails to mention the most significant crime that this animal is charged with, and that is a prohibited act. He's failing to comport himself with the decorum necessary to our society, Your Honor. His blatant sexual comment, "Hey babe," elicited a response from the victim that would be elicited from any law-abiding, self-respecting person. She fainted. And she fainted not only because of his outrageous conduct, but also because of the deadly weapons that he displayed when assaulting her. Hence the aggravated assault charge, Your Honor.
Thank you. Well, the court is going to hold that a bear is chargeable as a person. The bear was acting like a person when it went to the plaza, he or she or whatever it is. And in fact, we see many people that act like bears. So we are going to proceed on this matter with the understanding that the bear is subject to the statutes of Vermont. And we do understand that the state is going to be asking for conditions.
Yes, Your Honor. We've attempted to run a record check on Mr. De Bear, and we suspect that he has used various aliases in the past. St. Bear, Berenstain Bear, Papa Bear. All of these bears produce criminal record checks. We've found no specific criminal record check under this bear. What we're requesting, Your Honor, is conditions 1, 2, and 3. Most significantly, condition 10 in the amount of $1 million. It is now the end of October approaching November. And what we've seen with individuals like Mr. De Bear is that come November, you just don't see him anymore. You don't see him until maybe April or May. And they claim to be sleeping in their cave somewhere, but the point is we just don't know whether or not he's going to appear in the future. We also request a condition 12 modified to reflect that the defendant should not possess, purchase, or consume honey. There is some indication that Mr. De Bear was heavily under the influence of sugar at the time of this offense, and we're hopeful that banning honey would prevent that reoccurrence. We're also requesting condition 14 as to the victims, and we're also requesting a condition 13, Your Honor, which I think is probably going to be very difficult to enforce in the defendant's case. The condition 13 would be modified to ask that he not purchase, possess any kind of weapons. And of course, the heart of this case, the problem is that he is a walking weapon. Look at those teeth, Your Honor. Look at those claws. He's just a dangerous individual, Your Honor. And he has no ties to this community that we're aware of. His behavior is certainly outrageous. This sort of behavior might be acceptable in the woods of Vermont, but certainly not in the city of New York. And consequently, Your Honor, we're requesting those conditions.
Thank you. Mr. Lurvy?
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, I'd like to point out, first of all, that we're outraged by Mr. Du Bois' charges here. There is absolutely no evidence to suggest that my client, Mr. De Bear, has any prior criminal record of any kind. And in fact, what the state has failed to mention, despite the headlines here, is that a woman, a citizen of this city, came through in a full-length fur coat which brought on the attack, a fur coat representing the heinous murder of one of Bruin De Bear's kin. This is what the state fails to mention when it talks about my poor client. What we're asking, Your Honor, is that he be released without bail, that no bail be required, or some conditions, preferably condition number 4, that he be released into the custody of Mother Merrick. Mother Merrick intends to take him back up to Beartown in Manchester, where he resides. There's no evidence that the state can show this court that Mr. Bear has ever failed to appear in court, Mr. Bruin De Bear, that is. He also has family ties in the area. Smokey the Bear, the Chicago Bears, the Boston Bruins come to town all the time. There's plenty of reason for him to show up in court. Mr. Lavoie's suggestion, Judge, that we impose a modified condition 12 relating to honey is also ridiculous. Bear in mind that at this time of year, Judge, the berries are gone, there's nothing but beech nuts and acorns left, and that bear needs to sustain itself for the long winter. There's no evidence to suggest that he was on a honey high or in any way abused his honey consumption. So for those reasons, Your Honor, we're asking that he be released and allowed to return with Mother Merrick back to his home.
All right, so thank you. Well, keeping in mind the fact that we do believe that the bear has ties to the community that probably go back further than any of us do, the court's going to impose the following conditions. But first we have a comment to make. There once was a bear from the wood who thought that any bear could go to the plaza, eat pizza and salsa, and grab any fur that he could. Alas, he should have refrained, and now he has been arraigned. Courts heard your positions on pretrial conditions, ensuring appearance obtained. The conditions imposed will be condition 1, 2, and 3, and particularly he must give us an address. Condition 4, we're going to place him in the custody of James White, County Forester. And condition 5, daily reporting to the ranger station. But this reporting requirement will be suspended during hibernation. Condition 6, he must remain in the bear corridor. Now we've heard that there's a bear corridor that runs somewhere south of Arlington and crosses Route 7. He must stay out of that corridor. Condition 9, we're going to have him post bond rather than condition 10, posting bail. And he must sign for providing, in the event that he fails to comply with these conditions, 10 pounds of beech nuts and 10 pounds of acorns. The 10% is waived because the court doesn't want to attract rodents. We do have a little problem. The Also, condition 14, that he not associate with, harass, or stalk any ladies in fur coats. And condition 13, we are not going to impose. We find that we don't want to be responsible for pulling the teeth out of the bear, and we know of no appropriate way to commit the bear in the event of a violation. Otherwise, this bear is found to be legally incompetent, and as a result, we're going to appoint a guardian ad litem. We're appointing Claude Dern as guardian ad litem. The reason we are not involving Mother Myrick is, of course, that she is a witness, and that would be inappropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All rise.
Well, Jim, we're getting up toward the upper switchback. I removed a little bit of brush so we can see what's going on up here.
Now here's our other part of the switchback. The road going farther to the east, I guess it'd be going.
Up to the high trestle.
Yep.
That's about 6 foot in elevation above us right here.
Yep.
We're closing in pretty quick.
Oh, look at where the ties were here, Claude.
I guess in
hope you can.
1917, when they ceased operations, it didn't take too long to sell all the railroad equipment. And I think they salvaged quite a few of the ties. There's evidence in places where they looks like they'd been removed, and the trench where the tie had been just filled in with duff from the forest. One here, the next one. This one doesn't seem to be as deep. There's another one.
And the low spot is where the tie was, I think, right, Claude?
That's right.
Yeah.
That depression.
The impression.
It was just picked right up out, and here some 80 years later, we can still see the remains of the railroad.
I think there's about 2,500 to the mile. They're like every almost 2 feet, aren't they?
I'm not sure how that does come out.
There's a pile of them anyway.
I think the ties originally came from Canada.
Then they went from here on to another job, I guess. Here's a good place, an impression right here.
Yep. Jim, you're up on the upper section there now. You're only 10 feet away from me horizontally, and about 4 feet vertically.
Yeah. And we're going to merge.
It's coming together, but it takes quite a while. 6% grade, that's 6 feet rise or drop in 100 feet. It takes quite a ways when you're working with a
You're
steep...
going uphill and I'm going downhill.
You're going downhill. I'm going up. Just below me, the stone wall, retaining wall, which was built from the rock taken out of the uphill cut, was stacked up, very nice and neat, and fill put in to hold this up. Probably this lower track is 20 feet above what was the natural grade at one time. Down below, looking up at this, is quite a piece of stonework. Right here where we're looking now, a section did cave in, fell down. This switchback here, in order to get the engine and the coal car and 9 other cars, there's probably another 600 or 700 feet of track bed that went out to the end of the switchback in order to get the whole train out there off the track it had come in on, so that the switch could be thrown and it go down the other track.
Well, we're getting close to being one track now, Claude.
It appears the switchback portion up here, the extension of it curves just slightly, and there's kind of a natural little shelf. There wasn't as much excavation and retaining wall work out there as there was behind us here.
Looks like a natural place for a railroad after it's built, but I can't imagine if we're just looking across any part of the hill here, how anybody picked a good spot or in all that rubble.
Well, if we were looking at this, we're going to survey it or decide where we were going to go up the mountain. It looked something like this.
Yeah, this would be
Trying
the
to get
spot
up
for
there.
it.
And that's what the train was. That they had to negotiate.
Yeah, well they take a maximum, start with a 50% grade, 60% for medio.
All of that.
Yeah.
There's more vertical here than horizontal, I
Yeah,
think.
well. Say we can only go up 6%.
6%. So
Yeah.
we only got to cut this down, remove 90% of it, and we're right where we want
Yeah,
to be.
yeah.
I could climb up here higher, but I don't think I will. I think I'll just slide on back down.
Must have been a lot of rocks that got away from, rolled all the way down to the brook too, Claude. Pretty dangerous place to work with a lot of people with picks and pikes and...
Well, the rocks seem to be plenty of them in Vermont. I guess the glacier brought a lot of them. And I guess someone asked, where did the glacier go? Probably went back after some more rocks.
I think we ought to leave the pieces of coal that we found up here for other people to find and get a kick out of, and maybe they'll leave it for, they'll still be finding the same piece of coal 100 years from now.
There's the two pieces.
Yeah. Why don't we
Just
leave them right
found
here,
that
okay?
one today.
I think people get a big kick out of finding them, so.
This is really just still the start of the railroad. Probably, what, 3 miles of track to here.
Yeah. How long is it all together?
16 miles with the spur tracks.
Okay.
So
It's 3 miles to the bottom, to the mill.
I would say about that. So 80% of it still lies up ahead.
They must have had a lot of their elevation in the first, well they couldn't, I guess, then that would be right. Look at the little trees where they started, the seeds landed and got in these little fractures, and what's the future of that little hemlock?
Well, that's a condition to grow a bonsai tree, isn't
Yeah.
it, Jim?
Look at the little spruce here on the shelf on the
The
yellow birch, another yellow birch.
stunted roots and limited soil and everything, and
Yeah.
they can grow to be proportioned the same as a real adult tree, but stay miniature.
You remember we talked about growth?
Tree growth, yeah.
Yeah, we got
Their tree growth.
1995, 1996 right here.
Yep.
From here to here, that whirl. The year before.
1.5 inches on that one, and
Yeah.
the ones we looked at last spring, I think, was 17. So.
3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, probably 12 or 13 years old. There's a little guy right in here, Claude. I don't know if you can see him, but see that little bitty guy right here?
Yep.
He's 1.
1 year old.
Yeah. Well, there's trees all the way through here trying to... Nature's pretty amazing.
Sure is.
Nature's pretty amazing.
Sure is.